Evening, everyone. This meeting of the Mahwah Board of Education is open to members of the public to be physically present. Members of the public that attend will be asked to follow the same procedures as all other visitors to our schools. These procedures can be found on the agenda page of our website. Additionally, the board meeting will be live streamed for viewing purposes only. Webinar ID for this meeting is 821-3224-6678. And the required password is 650827. I call this meeting to order. We need roll call, please. Ms. Hiramoto.
Mr. De Silva.
Here.
Mr. Kazmarski. Mr. Coplin. Mr. Gallo.
Here.
Ms. Davanero.
Here.
Mr. Houston. Mr. Hughes.
Here.
Mrs. Ting Jansen.
Here.
Dr. Morthy.
Here. Adequate notice of the agenda for this meeting has been provided to the Ridgewood News and the Record, specifying that the Mahwah Board of Education will meet on February 11th, 2026, virtually via Zoom. A copy was filed with the Township Clerk. All right, so we are having a virtual referendum town hall special board meeting. This meeting will be conducted virtually via Zoom and is being held to provide the community with information regarding the proposed March 10th, 2026 referendum. The forum will include an overview of the referendum questions, proposed projects, and related information, as well as an opportunity for public comment. No formal board action will be taken. I already said the webinar ID and participant ID. I can repeat it. Webinar ID again, 821-3224-6678, and participant ID 650827. All right. The link to join the webinar is also posted, I guess, right, for us in the chat. All right, public questions or comment. Public participation at board meetings is in accordance with bylaw 0167. But now, sorry, we will pass on. I don't think, do I have to open to the public? No, I don't think so. So I will turn it over at this point to Dr. DeToro.
Thank you. I just want to welcome everyone to our virtual town hall. We had our in-person town hall last week, and I felt like it was a great success. We had a number of community members who came out and asked some great questions. And this is an opportunity. We wanted to put this together for all the members of the community that couldn't get to that one. We also know people's schedules are busy. So I'm looking forward to a productive meeting today. Just to get started, I think it's important to share kind of why we're here. Obviously, we want to share information about our upcoming referendum on March the 10th. This is, I believe, our 16th or 17th presentation. And the reason why I say the number is because when we started this work, we were committed to ensuring that all the members of our community, whether school-based community members or community members who didn't have a connection with the school, are informed about the upcoming vote on March the 10th. Today, our goal is to ensure that we cover three specific aspects of this work. Number one, the history, how we got to this moment. Number two is the projects that are embedded into the referendum for consideration. And number three are the opportunities and impact if this referendum is a successful one. So Dr. Fair, myself, and Ms. Rizzo are going to be working from the district side to share information about this work. And Dr. Fair is now going to introduce the panelists as a whole.
Sure. Let me first briefly introduce myself to those of you on the screen who don't know me. My name is Dennis Fair. I'm the Assistant Superintendent, and I've had the honor of being the Assistant Superintendent for the last 12 years here in Mahwah. During that time, I've been able to really see some awesome things occur over the last 12 years, supported by a strong and engaged community. Tonight, we'll be sharing information, as Dr. DeToro shared, everything that you need to know related to the proposed referendum, including those projects involved in the referendum, as well as what the voting process will look like ahead of the March 10th vote. So we've invited a panel of experts this evening who can explain all aspects of the bond referendum, where they will have the opportunity to share insight from some of our district staff and those members joining us with industry experience related to finances, bond referendum, and facility planning. We'll be able to provide details about our proposed projects and outline our district's approach related to fiscal responsibility leading into and through the bond referendum process. So let me introduce our panelists. First, as Dr. Arturo already briefly introduced himself, he's been our superintendent for the past 5 years. He brings with him his experience as our district's former director of curriculum and instruction, and he has building-based experience as the former principal of Joyce Kilmer School, so he'll be bringing that to our dialogue as well. Ms. Hiramoto is our business administrator here in the district. She leads everything related to the district's business office and recently joined our team this past October. Ms. Rizzo serves as our Director of Special Services and is responsible for all special education programs across the district. She has served the district for 29 years, with the last 23 years serving in the capacity of Director of Special Services. Not only does Ms. Rizzo come to us with experience as a Mahwah parent, but she also is a product of Mahwah Schools as a graduate. Dr. Morthy is our Board of Education President, and Mr. Gallo also serves as one of our Board of Education trustees. Both Dr. Morthy and Mr. Gallo are former Mahwah parents themselves and are each entering their 10th year of service to the district. Mr. Pascal is our Mahwah High School principal. He has been in the district for 36 years, with 24 of those years serving as the high school principal. Mr. Hensel recently started with us as the building principal of Betsy Ross School last school year and has come to us with a host of building-based principal and leadership experience before joining our team. Additionally, we have some panel experts. Mr. Salamini is our bond counsel who will provide some context to us about our specific ballot that community members will see on March 10th, along with information on what that voting experience will look like. Ms. Tracy is a financial advisor from Phoenix Advisors and will be able to share information on the financials connected to the bond referendum. And Mr. Wolf and Mr. Sikora are our lead architects from Land Associates who have participated in doing an extensive audit of our district's facilities over the years and can provide some intimate knowledge on the renderings you will see this evening. So we will begin with an overview. Let me just go over the schedule for this evening. We'll go over the overview of the bond referendum process and its proposed projects. And that will be followed by a panel discussion to review all aspects of that process, along with contextual contributions by our representatives. And this discussion will be sparked by questions from our attendees this evening. What we ask you to do is, as Dr. Arturo, Ms. Rizzo, and I are presenting the slides to you, if you could place into the chat any questions you might have, those questions will spark some dialogue later on this evening after we've completed the presentation of information. So Dr. Arturo will start us off providing the community who's in attendance with some historical perspective.
Thank you. So how we would like to frame this presentation, as I said, we've done a number of presentations already with some great questions, and we felt like it was appropriate for us to embed those questions into our presentation. So as you will see, a number of the slides will have questions to start, and if not, we'll pose those questions while we're presenting. So the very first question and the logical question is, how did we get here? And what I can share with you is, as we started this process, we wanted to make sure that community voice was embedded throughout. And what I mean by that is, back in 2019, we took on a process called a strategic plan. It's a major point of pride in our district. We had the opportunity of meeting with a couple hundred individuals, whether it was community members, administrators, teachers. We spoke to our students to gather information about the state of the district, our points of pride, but also the areas that we need to grow. We were able to gather all of that information and create 4 specific frames. We're going to just speak about the facilities frame tonight. With the facilities frame, there were a lot of things that we were excited about that Mahwah had to provide to our students, but there were a lot of areas of concern. When we gathered that information, we felt like we needed those outside experts to come and do a comprehensive audit of our facilities. And Land Associates is here tonight, and they'll be speaking to you. They performed 2 comprehensive audits over the past, let's say, 6 years. After those audits were completed, they provided us with a very long list of to-dos. I'm happy to report to you, which I'm going to speak about in a little bit, that we were able to chop away a number of those projects to ensure that we were able to maintain and update our facilities. Because of the success of that strategic plan, we did it again, because that strategic plan was from 2020 to 2025. We are in the first year of our second strategic plan. Again, the community came out. Again, they shared some concerns that they had with our facilities or things that we needed to look into. Once we knew we were taking on this referendum, we felt like we wanted to give one last effort to listen to our community. So we created an opportunity in the fall called the State of the Facilities Meeting that we were able to break out into grade bands. So we had an elementary room, and we also had a middle school room and a high school room that parents were able to come and go throughout the different rooms and give us their feedback. With all of that information, from the feedback from the strategic plan, from the state of the facilities, from the land audit, from speaking to our administrators, we were able to put together a project list. And that's what we're going to be presenting to you today. The next slide is going to be a question that is raised of, well, where did all the money go? And what are you doing with our funds? Which is a great question. With that question, oftentimes we talk about transparency, and it's easy for me to sit here and share with you all the work that's been done over the course of the last, let's say, 6 to 8 years. But it's better for me to be able to show you. So what I can share with you is, if you go to our district website and you go to the departments tab, under the departments tab, there's a facilities tab. If you click on the facilities tab, you'll see facility upgrades. We created that page to tell our story. I'm really proud to work alongside the Board of Education and the Finance and Facilities Committee, because we're constantly challenging each other of what can we do to make sure that our district is a point of pride for our community. So what we were able to do is take all the land audit feedback and all the things that we needed to accomplish, and we were able to detail by year, by school, by project, the work that's been done over the course of the last, let's say, 6 years. What I can share with you, big picture, is we've put north of $15 million into our facilities alone. What's not on that website is back in 2018, the district made a commitment to the high school and built the STEAM facility, which is the T3 building, that blue cube on the side of the Mahwah High School facility. That facility is a massive point of pride for our district. It allows our students to take part in coursework and programs and opportunities that most districts do not have. That project, as well as the other facilities projects that I spoke to, all came out of our operating budget. So we had the north of $15 million in upgrades and the close to $5 million facility of the T3 building, all that's been done within our operating budget. The second piece is, yes, we put that money into our facilities. What are you doing with your operating budget? Are you being fiscally responsible? Which is a fantastic question. So we wanted to detail just some of the efforts that we've taken on over the past 5 years to ensure that we are sound along the lines of fiscal responsibility. Something that I've shared at every single meeting is, Mahwah is a fantastic place, but it's massive. There's 27 square miles, and we provide busing, and that poses some challenges. We have over 40 routes running in the morning. We have over 40 routes running in the afternoon, and we have a couple midday routes. Those routes are expensive, to the tune of $40,000 a piece. Our supervisor of transportation over the past 2 years have done ridership audits. With that data, we were able to look at our routes and making sure that the rider time doesn't increase. We were able to consolidate 6 routes for a savings of $240,000 that we were able to bring back and put to the facility upgrades that I was just referring to. Also, as we all know, insurance prices are skyrocketing, and we are on a fixed cost here in the district. We have to think about what we need to do with that expectation of we have to pay that. So we worked with our insurance provider, and we were able to negotiate a deal with them and adjustment in coverage to have a $900,000 savings. Again, back to our operating budget. As we know, we have a pot of money that we have to allocate to certain places. With that, we wanted to maximize our experience with that. So we looked at investment strategies. As a public entity, there's only so many strategies that we are able to take on, which is a good thing. But we wanted to make sure that we were maximizing that investment opportunity. So we were able to capitalize on that. And last one, which I say every single meeting, I'm going to repeat it again. I say this respectfully and understanding the sensitivity of it. We have to look at our staffing. Our enrollment has gone down. Let's just say over the 15 years I've been here, it's gone down. And we wanted to make sure that we were doing right by everyone. But we also wanted to make sure that we were responsible. We have a commitment to ensuring class size stays at the place that it is and our programs maintain. In actuality, we've built programs over the past 5 years. But understanding that enrollment's going down, Dr. Fair, his office, the administrative team, we collectively came together and we wanted to make sure that we were responsible to the taxpayer. We were able to reduce staff without impacting the class size or program opportunities for our students. About 30 staff members over the past 5 years. We will continue to look at those numbers to ensure that I can look at you and say, we've been fiscally responsible. And last but not least, which Ms. Rizzo is going to come on very soon to talk about her program. Ms. Rizzo, who is the director of student services here in the district, the program does absolutely wonderful things for our special needs IEP students. As we all know, that students come with all sorts of abilities. We do right by those students, but there are some students that come to our district that have needs that we're not able to support. They are still entitled to an education. So we have to look for other placements so those students are provided the appropriate educational experience. Those placements are extremely expensive, to the tune of $100,000 a piece. And transportation's around $20,000 to $30,000 a piece. That's $130,000 for out-of-district placements. That being said, Ms. Rizzo has constantly said she wants to keep our kids in district, or, to use her words, bring our babies back home. That being said, Ms. Rizzo and her team have done an incredible job of looking at our programs, our offerings, our facilities, and they've been able to build 4 programs at the elementary level over the past 2 years to bring back 18 students from out of district, or they could have been going out of district, and keeping them here in district. That serves 2 purposes. The most important, we're keeping our kids here and they feel connected to the community that they live in. But also there's a fiscal advantage there as well, that we can utilize those funds for the projects that I just spoke about. The next slide is going to speak to the question of, well, how does this project benefit my child at insert school here? And what I can tell you is, in my research of referendums across the state, there are referendums that are very specific to a specific school or a specific type of student. What I'm hoping that you get from this presentation is you will see that every single school in our district is positively impacted by this vote. And the second thing is we have all types of students in our district. So you'll be able to see whether you are a performing arts student, whether you are an athlete, or whether you're just a student who attends our schools. You will have a positive experience because of the projects that we are proposing. So every single school is impacted by this proposal. Next slide. Okay. So this slide is extremely important. As you can see on your screen, You have Mahwah High School. That's the school that I'm going to speak to. But you have two columns here. You have a question 1 column and a question 2 column. We're going to speak about this all throughout the presentation. The reason why we broke it up this way is because this is the way your voting experience is going to look like. The referendum is broken up into 2 questions. Question 1, if I can put it as a theme, is our infrastructure projects, our HVAC, our windows, our roofs. And question 2 are our additions, enhancements across the district. So what you're going to understand is every single school is going to have this breakdown. But what I do want to point out, which we're going to say multiple times, but it's worth repeating, is on the mail-in ballot. Question 1 is on the front side. You need to flip it over. Question 2 is on the back side. And when you go on the ballot into the voting booth, you'll see it's most likely going to be in 2 different screens. So be cognizant of that. Also, question 2 is contingent on question 1, which we're going to speak to throughout this presentation. So let me get into Mahwah High School. As you can see, the infrastructure proposals are updates of roofing, HVAC, and boilers. Question 2 is renovating the auditorium, replacing the stadium turf, the existing stadium turf, updating field lighting, and building a second gym, as well as turfing a grass field that we currently have.
So in addition to the projects that Dr. Arturo just introduced, we've asked Ms. Rizzo to speak to this slide, especially because it has the potential to significantly and positively impact our special education program.
Thank you, Dr. Fair. So on the screen before you are 2 question 1s that are related to improvements in Building 7 and Building 5. Previously, when the high school was originally built, locations were numbered as spread out across the campus. So when I'm speaking about Building 7, I'm speaking about the connection to the Cube building. And under question 1, we're looking for those improvements to include repairing the chimney, recoating the roofing, and upgrading the HVAC systems, and addressing the backup boiler. Selfishly, Building 5 is a slide that I would like to emphasize relative to question 1, in which while there will certainly be facility upgrades of repairing the chimney and recoating the roofing and upgrading the HVAC system, we have in Building 5, which is adjacent to our dedicated field, and that is also where currently our athletes use a locker room, but for years there has been storage in that location, and there is a beautiful size space that was formerly a classroom that through upgrading, I'm asking that the Board of Education and through your vote, create a designated space for our 18 to 21-year-old students. Now, these are special needs students that otherwise require and are entitled to an education beyond Mahwah High School. And they are students who have historically spent their entire education in our district in a very highly specialized life skills program. And many of them have been educated since they were 3 years old. And because they require an education past the 12th grade and into adulthood, shouldn't mean that they need to leave Mahwah in order to do so. So the proposed question 1 on Building 5 is to simply upgrade a space that we already have and outfit for a program that will benefit our young disabled adults and allow them to remain in their community as a Mahwah Thunderbird.
Okay, next slide. So, the Ramapo Ridge Middle School As I said before, you have two questions, question 1 and question 2. In question 1, you have roofing, HVAC systems, exterior brickwork, and bleachers in the gym, as well as adding turf and lighting to the soccer field. Before we go to the next slide, I do want to share, there's a number of slides that are going to share, say, roofing or HVAC. Please understand, there's been a lot of work across the district on these projects, but with 500,000 square feet of facilities, we're able to tackle a portion of these projects often to make sure that we're maintaining the budget. So this is a larger scope. That's why you'll see it on the different slides. Okay, this is the picture of the Ramapo Ridge field. If you're looking at Ramapo Ridge to the right, that field is currently grass. I'm keep saying point of pride, but I'm just going to keep saying it because there's a lot to be proud of. As I said before, we've been building programs over the past couple years. One of the programs that have been spectacular for our students is Mr. Corey and Ms. Whalen came to us and proposed reinstating middle school sports. The board was extremely supportive, and the program is a tremendous success. We started with 3 different sports. Now we're at 5 sports with hundreds of students being involved, which is great for our middle school population. When you think of your middle school experience, the last thing you want to do is come to school and just go home. You need to feel connected. So they built sports programs, and they also built different club experiences as well. The middle school field is currently grass. That's where our soccer is the soccer teams are playing. On the slide of the middle school field, what I can share with you is the way that it's situated is we're lining it not just for soccer, but we're also lining it for softball, and we're also going to line it for lacrosse. Now, the reason why I say that is because when you talk about the experience of not just our students that are taking part in during the school day, we're also talking about the opportunity for our community to take advantage of these spaces. We're going to talk about the community and school experience as we go through the different projects. So I just spoke about the middle school field experience. If we can, I don't know if we can go back to the high school. Perfect, right there. Nope, let's go back. One slide prior. Perfect. Now let's all settle in here. The slides that we're looking at right now is our current middle school gym. I'm sorry, current high school gym. Our high school, this gym was built in the 1950s. It's a classic. That being said, if you go to other districts, our gym pales in comparison for a number of different reasons. The great part about Mahwah is our community shows up and supports our programs. This picture was taken last week at a wrestling match. Our wrestling program is booming. Our basketball programs are booming. But the problem is, as you can see, we are jammed into one side of our gym. Our counterparts have seating on both sides, and their facilities are absolutely to a higher level than us. So we are proposing, next slide, we are proposing a new gym at Mahwah High School. As you can see here, this is the exterior of the new gym proposal. That's in addition to, not in replacement of. This is going to be across from the Mahwah High School football field. As you can see, as you walk through the entrance, there will be a lobby large enough for ticketing, as well as concessions, and we'll also have bathrooms in that space. The next slide is going to show you what the inside of the gym looks like. As you can see, there's seating on both sides of the gymnasium. That is what it looks like in other districts. It'll provide increased capacity for our spectators to the tune of 900 to 1,000 spectators, which is appropriate for a school our size. It'll also allow us to have 2 activities going in our high school at one time. We have wrestling, we have boys basketball, we have girls basketball, we have color guard. This gives us an opportunity for a number of different activities to utilize our spaces without there constantly being a conflict. The next slide is our field right behind the high school. The field behind the high school is currently grass. It's used for our softball team and our soccer team. If you look at the picture, you will see that it's also marked right now with football markings. We're proposing to turf this grass field, maintaining our softball field markings, maintaining our soccer field markings, but we're proposing to also add football markings. And the reason why we're doing that is our marching band, our color guard are such a strong point in our high school. Such a large number of students take part in it. But scheduling practices for them is extremely difficult because they need those markings to practice so they can perform at a high level. Right now, they only have the one spot, which is the high school stadium, to practice. This expands that time and opportunity. We're also proposing to light that field, which extends the time of use. The last slide is our current field. This is straightforward. It's currently turfed. We have done everything we needed to do to maintain it, but there's a lifespan on this material, and it's time for us to replace it. We're also proposing to put LED lights in the current light fixtures.
And for most of you probably have already seen this. This is the existing facade of Mahwah High School. Currently, that overhang that you see is unused space. With the bond referendum, what we are proposing is the following slide. The existing overhang would then be encased with the windows that you see, obviously extending the space substantially. Not only would this enhance the appearance of the facade of the building, but it would assist with flow of people in and out of that area of the high school. This is the existing lobby right before you enter the auditorium. For those of you who have been able to experience one of our awesome performances from any of our performing arts groups, you know that when you're entering or exiting one of those performances, the space is extremely tight currently. If you've been in that space during an intermission, it also is truly uncomfortable. So what the update would do is expand and brighten the space significantly, as depicted in this rendering. The addition would provide additional natural light and would create an expansive space for both guests and students. We would be renovating the hallway bathrooms that are a part of this space, while also creating an opportunity for congregation of students during a typical school day, whether that's during lunch or for any sort of student collaboration. This is the existing auditorium from the original build from the 1950s. So with our proposal, what we would be doing is keeping the existing footprint of this space while renovating and updating everything within it. The stage and proscenium would create a visual focal point for audience members. We would also be updating lighting, acoustic, sound, all of the seating, as well as the flooring. We would make the seating ADA compliant and also create a more welcoming space that our student performers truly deserve. So before we move on to look at additional projects that we're proposing in other buildings, what I'd like to do is give Mr. Pascal, the building principal, an opportunity to share his point of view of what these enhancements could offer the instruction in his building as well as student programs.
Good evening, thank you. For the auditorium, as Ms. Rizzo said, the auditorium is original from the original build of the school. It used to be a standalone building itself from 1959. That space is a patchwork of different lighting systems, and almost everything in there is, while it's been maintained, is original. So our students particularly our students in the performing and communication arts, career pathways, perform there for theater and concerts, chorus, band, orchestra. And so this renovation would provide an excellent space for students to perform for the community. And the caliber of performances that we do, our space currently really isn't acceptable for the kind of work that we're doing and the kind of experiences that we would like students to have. In addition, we work with the Township and the FAM committee, Film, Arts, and Music, as well as this year, the middle school will be doing their spring musical here at the high school. So this area is an area that many community members come to, and yet the facility itself really needs to be upgraded from what it is. I have the opportunity to go to a lot of high schools to see our kids perform at different high schools throughout the state. Most auditoriums, pretty much everyone that I've been to, is tremendously better than what we currently have. In terms of the gymnasium space, the gymnasium would be located right next to our auxiliary gym, by the tennis courts there. That additional gym would help us out. Right now, my winter guard is participating at the Ramapo Ridge Gymnasium. The indoor winter drum line is participating in the cafeteria and some classrooms because we don't have a space for them to be in. Building an additional gym would be helpful for our athletic program. It would be helpful for our students during the academic day, but it would also be helpful to our activities that occur after school and in the evening. So hopefully this space will also, because I've been in the community for 36 years, we have middle school sports, high school sports, and then we have township athletic events. And in the winter in particular, there just is not enough space for people to be. So by building this additional gym, that'll give us more space, it'll give the community more space, and it will provide a place in the high school for us to bring the whole community together, because right now, neither the gymnasium nor the auditorium is large enough to hold the entire student body.
Thank you, Mr. Pascal. So what we'll do.
Dr.
Sure.
Fair, I'm sorry to interrupt. I know we had a little bit of a snafu with the slides. I just want to make some clarification specific to the high school gym, the new gym. I just want to make sure that my explanation was clear. This high school gym is an additional gym. So the current gym, current locker rooms, they are going to stay as they are right now. The locker rooms I was referring to are not in replacement of, but in addition to. So there'll be additional locker rooms that are built in the new space. Again, that space, if you can go back to the front of the front view of the gymnasium, that space is right across from the Mahwah High School football stadium. Our architects and engineers were able to come out, take a look at the land and the space. We are able to situate that building without impacting our tennis courts or anything like that. Nothing will be disrupted with us placing that gymnasium on the backside of our high school. So if you're looking at the high school, the current gym is on the right-hand side. Keep following the path, and you'll see where the new proposed gym would be. Thank you for allowing me to give you that clarification.
Thank you. So what we'll do is we'll transition to the proposed projects related to Betsy Ross School. As Dr. Arturo already shared, question 1 is connected to infrastructure updates. In question 1 for Betsy Ross School, we would be proposing the upgrading and recoding of sections of the roof and replacing the HVAC system. We would be replacing 4 boilers and repointing some exterior brickwork. Question 2, as Dr. Arturo also shared, would speak to proposals that would enhance or add on to a space. So we would be proposing the building of a new gym for Betsy Ross School, as well as a library media center and music room. This is the existing multipurpose room at Betsy Ross School. As you can see, if you've been in this space, it too is pretty tight with standard ceilings. So just as standard as a typical classroom. The building uses this space for everything from using it as a cafeteria to a space for morning meeting, indoor recess, and phys ed class, as well as bus lineup. So this is where this addition would be located. It would be located at the back of the building. So if you're familiar with Betsy Ross School, you know that it's one long hallway. And when you would be entering from the main lobby right by the main office, what you would be doing is going down that long hallway towards the third grade wing. Once, right before you enter the threshold of the third grade wing, you would cut to the right, which would then lead to this beautiful space. So the brickwork of the exterior would preserve the original look of Betsy Ross School. You can see that there are a ribbon of windows allowing in natural light that we'll see on the following slide. So it would provide natural light to this large space. There would be a proper stage for student performances, as well as bleachers on the other side of the space. It would be, again, a proper gym. So you see that there are high ceilings. We actually are able to have basketball nets. We would be able to have all sorts of phys ed types of equipment. And we would be able to promote this space for community use. This is the current Library Media Center at Betsy Ross School. For those of you who don't know, it's currently housed in an existing trailer. From the outside, you can see the brickwork hides the reality that it is a trailer. But now we're at a point where when you enter the space, it truly feels like one. So what we're proposing is a Library Media Center that is comparable to our other elementary schools. So we would be introducing an expansive learning space for our kids with zoned learning areas. In the back, you can see that there are glass windows with an opportunity for students to enter into an outdoor learning space. This space would be designed to create a range of learning experiences for our students. And it could truly serve as the central hub for the school in terms of innovation, since our library media curriculum not only teaches literacy, but also teaches STEAM and coding as well. This would be a modern space that would also give classes possible access to a variety of different learning. So before we transition to our next slide, where we will be introducing projects of George Washington School, I know that Mr. Hensel serves as a panelist. So I think it's really important to hear from him as the building leader in terms of what these spaces could provide our students in the years ahead.
Thank you, Dr. Fair. Good evening, everyone. So at Betsy Ross and GW, we do not have dedicated gym spaces, unlike the district's other elementary schools and schools throughout Bergen County. This is my 16th year in administration. I've had the privilege of working in two very high-achieving Bergen County school districts. Both schools had proper gyms. In fact, my previous school had 2 gymnasiums. So at Betsy Ross, the APR has become an overextended multi-purpose space. Currently, it is used for whole school morning meetings. We have PE classes there. We have assemblies. We have lunch. It serves as our bus room during arrival and dismissal. The physical limitations of the space further compound the problem. The ceiling height is the same as a standard classroom. Basketball is not possible. There's a structural pole in the middle of the room. As a result, our PE teacher must constantly modify his instruction to work around obstacles, which limits the types of activities that students can safely participate in. Storage is also a problem, and it's extremely limited. With equipment stored along the walls, it's a high active traffic space, and you can imagine what kind of problems might arise from that. There's safety concerns, indoor recess, large group activities, with stuff along the walls. It's just our kids deserve better. Without a dedicated gym, scheduling also becomes especially challenging, especially when the weather is poor like it is now. Our students might not go outside for a long time. To give them that space to run around would be so important and so critical on a day-to-day basis. In addition to the gym space, Betsy Ross also lacks a dedicated music room, an art room, and a proper media center. The spaces that other elementary schools in our district already have. The library, as Dr. Fair stated, is housed in a deteriorating trailer. It lacks adequate space and functionality and is not a sustainable long-term solution. Both the APR and the media center are also prone to leaks. The expanded gym facility would not only serve our students during the school day, but it would also serve the broader Mahwah community by increasing access for school and recreation programs. I know Dr. Turturro has spoken previously about scheduling basketball. Imagine having two gyms, new gyms in the town where we can use to schedule outside of school hours. It would bring a much needed relief to that as well. So it's important that we think of this as like, we're not adding something new, we're fixing something that's been missing.
Thank you. So allow us to introduce proposed projects for George Washington School. Question 1 would be the application of new coating to the roof, replacing selected windows and its 4 boilers, replacing the kitchen hood, and again, repointing some exterior brickwork. Question 2 would enhance the building by proposing a new gymnasium for the building. This is the existing gym that students use. Similar to Betsy Ross School, this space is used for everything. So it serves as students' cafeteria, auditorium. It's used for morning meeting, bus lineup for arrival and dismissal, indoor recess, as well as physical education courses. So this would be the proposed structure for the new gymnasium. If you're familiar with George Washington School and you're entering through the main lobby, you would go straight down that hallway and you would end up in this space. So it's a modern addition, which would still complement the existing architecture of George Washington School without overwhelming it. So the new space would provide students with ample opportunity to actually have a vast physical education experience. There would be bleachers on one side as well as a brand new staging on the other, which would also serve as another opportunity for town rec use or for weekend activities.
Okay, the next 2 slides that you'll see are purely question 1 slides. Before I get into the content of that, I think it's extremely important to share with the community that the last time Mahwah went for a referendum was in 2002, 2003. So we have not had a referendum in the past 23 or 24 years. So Lenape Meadows, being the last building that was built, just like our own homes, needs to be updated. We've done a number of different projects, but the outstanding projects you can see on the screen here. We definitely need to apply a new coat to the roof. Mr. Wyka has a video of our roof flapping in the wind last year, which we were able to secure down, but that's not a permanent fix. We have to work, the windows are starting to falter, as well as we need to upgrade the temperature controls. Joyce Kilmer School, we need to upgrade roofing and HVAC systems. Something that's important to note, as I said earlier in the presentation, we've done work throughout the district. Sometimes the work is full scale. Other times there's portions that we were able to address. Joyce Kilmer is a perfect example. 2 years ago, we just replaced the 300 wing HVAC. Now they have 2 other wings to address. That 300 wing project of replacing the HVAC was a cost of $2.3 million. So as I'm sure you know, to replace the entire school, we don't have the funds to support those projects. That's why these projects are on the referendum. Also, we need to replace in the 100 and 200 wing the original windows that are in that wing in the classrooms. The next slide is going to speak to the maintenance garage as well as central office and the YMCA. Both question one projects. As you can see, recoding the roof, working on the fire alarm, repairing the chimney, and working on HVAC and boilers for those projects for those 3 buildings.
So we've discussed everything related to what's led us to a bond referendum, and we think it's really important to hear from Dr. Morthy and Mr. Gallo related to the rationale behind proposing a bond referendum from a board trustee perspective.
Thank you, Dr. Fair. So we have been thoughtful and well-planned in our referendum journey that began several years ago. We conducted 2 engineering audits of our spaces and buildings in our district. We gathered community input from the strategic plan process, and we implemented a proactive approach to maintaining our learning, extracurricular, and support facilities in a safe and functional way as they age.
As Dr. DeToro mentioned, part of our process started with the first strategic plan back in 2020. And in that strategic plan, one of our frames was facilities. And what that required us to take a new and fresh look at the way we think about facilities and the funding of their maintenance and upkeep. We knew that our facilities were getting older and were in need of more proactive management and maintenance. So we brought in land to do a deep dive audit. And then we just started thinking about how do we structure our work with available resources at the time to make sure that we stay ahead of age and potentially address some of the gaps in our facilities, such as the T3 building, such as the Innovation Lab over at Lenape Meadows. Excuse me, at JK.
Sorry, had a little technical issue. I know my video is gone. I apologize. Okay. Oh. I'm back. I apologize. All right, so we've prudently managed our operating budget within the rules of the 2% property tax cap. We replenished our capital reserves. We've used federal COVID support funds for eligible projects. We also obtained state aid for some capital projects in the form of ROD grants to offset costs. These strategies allowed us to stay ahead of the curve and also make selected enhancements in the district, such as the T3 building at Mahwah High School and the Innovation Lab at JK without any additional taxes.
When Land completed their most recent facility engineering audit in early 2025 and tallied up the cost of what we would need to do to maintain our aging systems in a state of good repair over the next 5 to 10 years, we realized that the level of investment required far exceeded our ability to pay for that through our operating budget or one-time grants and programs. So that led us down the path or towards the path of undertaking a referendum, and that's why we're having the conversation today.
Great, thank you, Mr. Gallo and Dr. Morthy. For our following 2 slides, we're going to ask Ms. Tracy, one of the district's financial advisors, to provide some explanation on maximizing state aid.
Thank you. Good evening. Mahwah is a district that doesn't receive a lot of state aid for your general operating budget, but debt service and a bond referendum is really one of the key times where you really can recoup some of those funds back from the state and bring them back into district. Debt service aid is available through these projects. As you can see here, the total cost of all the improvements we've discussed this evening is just over $138 million. Of that, $28.1 million will be paid for by the state. So again, that comes right back to the district each year. as debt service is paid on these bonds. So it's a really crucial component. Dr. DeToro did a great job going through the projects that the district has been able to do through the years, kind of chipping away at some of the projects through the operating budget, through capital reserve. But projects of this scale, really do need a referendum, and the state aid is a great, valuable tool in order to help support some of those projects and allow some money from the state to come back to the district. Broken down into question 1 and 2. As you can see here, the question 1 that was discussed as we went through each of the buildings, really critical infrastructure efficiency upgrades to all buildings. The total cost of those improvements is $75,810,263. Almost every single dollar is what the state considers eligible for debt service aid. So that is why you see 25 million of that first project, of the first question 1, the 75 million, 25 million of that is, a third of it paid for by the state. So that 2/3 are paid taxpayers, 1/3 from the state. That's both principal and interest that the state pays on that. And again, those projects are all into question 1. Question 2 is 62 million worth of projects. Those projects, a lot of them, because they deal with, as you saw, additions, some of the gymnasiums, some of the field work. So not all of those projects are eligible for aid. The state has a different formula when it comes to additions, things like, adding the gymnasiums and the spaces. So they do not receive as much aid. So that's why you see an additional 3 million coming from the projects in question 2.
Great, thank you.
Sure.
So in transitioning to our next slide, we've given you all of the information related to the proposed projects. Now we'd like Mr. Salamini as bond counsel, who has a great deal of expertise regarding the logistics connected to the ballot that you will see on March 10th. We'd like him to speak to what that process will look like and what the ballot itself will be asking you.
Great. Thank you, Dr. Fair. To reiterate what Dr. Totoro said earlier on, the Board of Education is proposing 2 questions to the voters at Mahwah. So it's important that you vote on both question bond proposal 1 and bond proposal number 2. There is also an explanatory statement that is contained on the ballot, which is basically an aggregation of both of the 2 questions. Also, to reiterate again, bond proposal 2 will only go into effect and will only be approved if bond proposal 1 is also approved by the voters. Mrs. Tracy just did a great job of explaining the debt service aid component. But just be mindful that on the bond questions themselves, the bond questions themselves will be asking the voters for permission to borrow the full amount of the projects. So for question 1, the bond proposal will be asking for full authorization to borrow $75,810,263. Again, the majority of those projects were eligible for aid, and that's why that debt service aid component is so high. But that debt service aid number is not on the ballots. So it's important that you're aware of that information, and that's why we appreciate you attending tonight's meeting and to attend some of the other information sessions, because that important amount, that debt service aid component, it does not appear on the ballots. Dr. Fair, could you? Yeah, and same thing with bond proposal question number 2. Bond proposal question number 2 will ask the voters to approve the full amount of the projects. In this case, it's $62,602,205. Again, a portion of these projects are eligible for debt service aid. But again, we have to authorize and issue the full amount of the bonds because the debt service aid is given by the state on an annual basis. And again, that debt service aid number will not appear on the ballot.
Ms. Tracy, it's
So
all
again,
you.
yeah, thank you.
Sure. Thank you. So we talked about the total cost. We've talked about the debt service aid. How does it all work? And ultimately, what is the cost to taxpayers? So debt service is just another word of the annual payments that you're making towards repaying a bond. If the bond referendum were to be successful, the district would go out to issue debt into the marketplace. The numbers we're talking about tonight are modeled over a 20-year payback. So this is as if the bonds were sold in the marketplace and are repaid over a 20-year term at a rate of 4%. That's conservative for today. In today's market, for strong credit rating like Mahwah Board of Ed and 20-year term, you'd probably be somewhere to maybe like 3.5, 3.6, somewhere in that range. But these numbers are modeled on 4%. I just wanted to kind of give you that background. So the debt service, the bonds would be sold, the debt service annual repayment each year by two components, one from the tax levy and then the other from supplementing that annual debt service aid. Question one, total of $75 million of projects. As we've spoken about, state aid is $25 million. So what does that mean? The net to the taxpayer in Mahwah, with the average home currently assessed at $481,238, that is a cost of $26 per month for the term of the bond. Question two, similar structure, $62 million. With state aid of about $3 million, that cost would be about $31 on the average home per month. Now I mentioned the assessed value. So again, average assessed value in Mahwah, $481,000. Assessed value is different than market value. So assessed value is what your taxes are based on. It's almost always less than what the market value is. This slide just kind of shows a difference between currently some homes that are on the market, what the market value is of those homes, and what the assessed value is. So we're talking about when we talk about the average home, it's what the assessed value is. You can find that number if you're not sure what it is. It's on your tax bill, but you can also go to Mahwah's the referendum website, and there's a tool on there that will let you find your assessed value and then find out exactly what the cost would be for your individual house. This is just to give you a range. Again, we talked about the average home, $481,238, but this is again just to kind of give you a range. If some of you do know your assessed values, where you would be if your assessed home is $200,000 all the way up to $700,000. Again, this chart just provides some estimates, some guidance for you, but the tool on the website will let you find out your impact individually. And again, just to note, these are based on the assumptions I mentioned earlier, a 20-year bond repaid at 4%. So hopefully things hold and the market stays strong and those numbers end up being pretty conservative. We get closer to that 3.5 rate or so. And then this is question two, same as we were just discussing for question one, showing the tax impact for assessed value at different levels. And I think just lastly to note, one thing I would say on the sale before we talk about tax relief, the bonds would be sold. I mentioned through a sale after the referendum. There would be a competitive public sale. So this would be put out into the market to bid. The district would receive bids, and the winner would be the one that's going to provide the lowest interest rate over the term.
And I guess just one aspect, if I could add, Dr. Fair, is, it's kind of unique for Mahwah. Not many school districts have, especially the size of Mahwah, have no outstanding debt. So, when you look at this impact, I think it's important to take into consideration that there is no outstanding debt currently. And that's very unique for a district Mahwah's size.
Thank you. So, Dr. Tor, if you want to close us out before we transition into questions.
Absolutely. Now that we're going into questions, our last meeting that we had some great questions specific to different things, whether it's if this passes, what's the schedule, or all specific things to schools and things like that. It's my hope over the last hour that we were able to provide you with the goals that we started with, which is how did we get here? What projects are being proposed within the referendum and the opportunities and impact. I think it's worth repeating. It's my hope that you saw the theme through all of the different projects of this not only helps our kids during the school day, but we have a fantastic relationship with the community and rec programs that utilize our space. Currently, it is a huge obstacle to try to figure out how do we get the rec programs into our facilities, the amount of times that they need to be in our facilities, but also a time that's respectful to the children. The last thing we want is for our 3rd and 4th graders to be practicing at 8 or 9 at night. As Mr. Hensel said, us adding 2 new gyms, one at Betsy Ross and one at GW, really expands that opportunity. Also, it expands the opportunity in our fall and spring sports and utilizing the turf fields that we're proposing as well. So it's my hope that you were able to get clarity so you're informed for your vote on March the 10th.
Thank you. And with regards to informing our community members, we have a referendum website that we are going to be referencing throughout our panelist discussion. We also have our Instagram account that's been updated regularly to provide our community members with any and all information related to the upcoming vote. And we also have an email address, which is future@mahwah.k12.njus.us, which provides our community members the opportunity to ask any questions they might have, and they will get a response within 24 hours. So I think the best thing we can do in transitioning is I'd like to go back to our building leaders to just speak overall about what they're most excited about in terms of all of the projects and their potential at Mahwah High School and Betsy Ross. We'll start with Mr. Pascal.
There we go. Well, I've had the opportunity to be here a long time, 36 years, and what I'm most excited about is to be able to provide the district with a performance space for performing arts. We have lots of students who are in our performing arts, orchestra, band, and choir and theater program. I'm looking forward to having that space renovated, to having the lobby bigger, and to have bathrooms that can accommodate our people that are coming to see their children perform, rather than the 1950 version that I currently have. I'm also excited about the gymnasium because I think it provides opportunities not only for athletics, and the field provides opportunity for athletics, but it provides opportunities for everybody in this community. So it will just open up the availability of field space and gym space in particular. Right now, our winter guard is jockeying between schools because we share the space with the township. We share the space with sports, middle school sports, and high school sports. So it would be great to have a space for them to be in that they can call home instead of moving all their equipment around. It would be great for the indoor percussion to have a space to appropriately perform and get ready for their competition. But overall, for me, I feel like these are spaces that are not luxuries. These are spaces that are really needed and that really need to be updated here at school for the kids. I also feel like the community benefits 100% because it just will open up a lot of opportunity for everybody within the Mahwah Township.
Thank you. Mr. Hensel?
Sure. I think approval would bring much needed parity across our elementary schools, which would ensure that our students all have comparable experiences and putting our district on par with other Bergen County schools as well. We'd get a separate gym space, we'd get a separate art room, a separate music room, and a brand new library media center. We'd be providing the students with a safe, durable, and fully functional learning spaces. Approval would open up so many doors and so many opportunities, not just for our students during the school day, but also for the Mahwah community at large. I kind of look at this referendum as something that fixes what is missing and giving our students the learning environments that they deserve.
Great, thank you. So I think it's best to transition. Let's go into some financial questions. Ms. Tracy, can you just go into the tax relief programs a little deeper related to available to senior citizens?
Yes, and so I guess I'm not as as familiar exactly about like how to go about as far as applying for them. But there are projects are programs in place to allow seniors to freeze taxes so that their taxes do not go up. It does not mean then that with these programs that their portion is spread amongst other parts of the residents. It comes in from the state. So when with the senior tax freeze, any eligible senior is able to fill out that application process and then able to keep their taxes frozen. And again, it doesn't get spread, their portion doesn't get spread amongst the other residents in Mahwah.
Great, thank you.
If I may just add, Mr. Roy at the Senior Center does a really nice job of working with the seniors and getting them engaged in this tax relief opportunity. The research that I've done on this is to speak to the practice. It used to be a paper-based experience. Now they've transitioned it. You could do paper or you could do it online. Also, all of the different opportunities or options are merged into one. So you fill out one application and then that information identifies if you qualify for any of those opportunities. So Mr. Roy at Mahwah Senior Center has all the information for something like that and works with the seniors throughout the community in assisting with that.
Great, thank you. Ms. Hiramoto, can you speak to, people have been asking, why can't we fit these improvements into our current operating budget?
So yeah, definitely. As the business administrator of the district, I'd love nothing more than to complete all of these improvements to our regular operating budget. If we had the ability to do that, without a question, we would. However, as previously discussed, New Jersey public school districts are limited by a 2% tax levy cap each year. And at the same time, our costs for things like health benefits, utilities, transportation, and maintenance continue to rise well beyond 2%. So it makes it extremely difficult to absorb large-scale facility improvements within the operating budget while still being able to protect classroom instruction and educational programs. So I believe a bond referendum will allow us to fund these projects up front and pay for them over time rather than trying to absorb them all at once. So it also allows us to receive significant state aid as discussed today. And in our case, that would be the $28.1 million, which wouldn't be possible if we attempted to complete this through the operating budget. So I do believe that using the referendum is the most responsible way for us to address these facility needs.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
An obvious question, what if the bond referendum doesn't pass? I think it's most appropriate to ask Dr. Toro, what does that look like?
Yeah, that's very difficult, and the reason why I say that is because let's just start with the question one questions. As I said, they're infrastructure. They're essential pieces to having the district function. And that being said, those costs we have to address. And as Mr. Gallo spoke about a little bit earlier, those costs far exceed how we can address them within our operating budget. That being said, we're going to have to look at significant cuts across the district. I started the program talking about how proud I am that we've been able to address some facility needs while also building programs, while also maintaining class size. I cannot make that promise to the community with the projects that we have on tap moving forward. The Land Associates did a wonderful job of really timing out all the different projects that we have. So we're going to have to address them some way or another. And I want to be very clear when I spoke about the essential pieces of functioning of question one. I do not want by any means to say, well, question one, there's essential functions. Mr. Hensel did a great job on saying it's not would be nice, it's what the kids deserve for our question two projects. So obviously there's a priority there as well. So we're going to have to make some really hard decisions moving forward to address the needs that we have to operate our district.
Great, thank you. So I only have two more questions, and I'll close because we received a comment from one of our attendees this evening. As we've been doing these presentations, I believe, Dr. Toro, this is the 17th presentation. There has been a pretty consistent question. What is the timeline for the projects to be completed? And it's an understandable question, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We just were able to work and please the Land Associates panelist. I asked if you could jump in as well. That's a question we've asked, and I'm really encouraged by that question of, when are we going to get started? That being said, there's a lot of moving parts. What I can share with you, and Ms. Tracy can speak to this further. If it is a positive vote on March the 10th, there's a period of time we'll get our money prior to the summer, I believe. Ms. Tracy, if you can give me a thumbs up if that's accurate. So that is what we're going to do. Land Associates provided drawings for us to the level in which we had to submit to the state for approvals and opportunities for state aid. That being said, there's more work to be done to those drawings specific to, the electrical and things like that. So when we went back to land, we asked them to create a schedule, which I'm greatly appreciating that they did that. And to be honest with you, it's a very aggressive schedule, to say the least. They were able to provide us a schedule of, let's just say, the first 3 to 4 years out. What I can tell you is once we get the approval on March the 10th, there is an amount of time that we have to finalize the drawings. We have to go out to the bidding process, and we are hopeful to have shovels in the ground spring of 2027. Those shovels would consist of Betsy Ross School, Mahwah High School, and depending on the lead time and the access to the workers, GW School in the spring of 2027. Also, they did a great job of looking at all of our question one projects. There are a number of those projects that we can do while school is in session, because another question would be, what would be the disruption in school, which I'll go into a little bit later. But what I can promise the community is once we have a positive vote on March the 10th, if we have a positive vote on March the 10th, the Board of Education as well as Land will put together a rough schedule. That'll be by project, by school, by month, by year, that we can share with the community and provide updates throughout that process. Matt or Steve, is there anything that I missed or you'd like to add?
I'll just add a little bit. Unfortunately, we probably won't start anything this summer of 26 just because of the process, like you had mentioned. The drawings submitted to the Department of Education were schematic level drawings. So they're basically just showing the layout of what we're proposing, identifying capital improvement work, such as roofing, HVAC upgrades. There is a lot of work to do, design work, to get something ready to go out to bid. So we're going to need a good number of months to put the design together, especially on those additions. But we're committed to having the designs completed and going out to bid on the additions by the end of 2026. So we would look to hit the ground running should the referendum pass on March 10th.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I know that we're approaching 7 o'clock and there is a
Dr.
board
Fair,
meeting.
can I interrupt just for a minute?
Of course. I was just
Okay.
going to give you the floor, Dr. Morthy.
Thank you. We do have to adjourn this meeting because we have another board meeting scheduled in person here at George Washington School at 7 p.m. So I will need a motion to close the meeting, but I just also wanted to give the opportunity, since we're on the virtual format, if board members wanted to share anything or say anything about the referendum process. So if any board members wanted to, it's a good opportunity since we're here in the virtual forum. If not, all right. And if not, I can't see my whole screen, but if not, then
We can do it.
okay, go ahead. Any board members? Yes, Mr. Copeland?
No, motion to.
Oh, motion to, okay, so then I need a motion to adjourn the meeting. I have a motion from Mr. Copeland and second from Mr. Gallo. So we officially adjourned and we will start our other meeting in person. Thank you all for.
Before anybody logs off,
Yep.
board members are adjourning to their meeting.
Correct.
Dr. Fair, myself, and the other panelists will stay on to answer any questions for the community. I'm sorry to interrupt you,
Yep.
Dr. Morthy. I just didn't
that's
want
fine.
people to think that we are adjourning this meeting as a whole. I'm sorry
Sure.
to interrupt.
No, that's fine. And there's questions in the chat, so I see that. No problem. Thank you all. All right, bye-bye.
Thank you. In Dr. Arturo's most recent answer, he actually provided a very logical segue into how would the project builds potentially disrupt or interrupt instruction.
Matt and Steve, before I get started, would you like to jump in there?
Sure, I can chime in a little bit. So naturally, our team's going to jump back into design and complete the construction documents and specifications for the projects. Our goal is to do a bulk of the construction work during the summers. So our team works hard and diligently throughout the school years. We bid out the projects, we receive the bids, we engage contractors, traditionally in the spring months, in which they get mobilized and prepared to hit the ground running during the summer months. So that would be the aim for several projects. Some of the projects can actually be done during the school years if it's a roofing repair project, if it's a masonry repointing project, perhaps a rooftop unit replacement. A lot of those projects can be dealt with from the exterior and not disrupt any student activity on the inside. So there's some thoughtfulness to how we stage and engage within the construction activities. But heavy duty construction would be traditionally during the summer months. The additions, the three additions that were mentioned, they are at the periphery or the edge of several of the schools. So they're not going to interrupt or require substantial interventions at the existing buildings. So student activity largely can remain uninterrupted, for those three projects as well.
If I could just add, at Building 5, that's a building that we can do work immediately. There's the life skills room proposed for the special education. That room is currently used for storage. That storage is being cleared out, and that construction can start immediately once we get design drawings completed, out to bid, and a contractor selected. So even the roofing work there, similarly at the maintenance garage, that work can go immediately and doesn't have to follow any summer schedule or be impacting any students.
Thank you. So if anyone has any additional questions, you can place them in the chat. We're more than happy to answer and provide any sort of clarification.
While we're waiting for any other additional questions, if we could just pull up the email address again for anybody who has any outstanding questions. This was a lot of content, and I know there's sometimes people need some time to digest. What I can share with you, if you have not gone to the website already, I strongly suggest you do so. As you can see, it's broken down by projects, there's informational videos there. There's pictures of the renderings that we shared today. all the financial details that Ms. Tracy shared with you, voter information along the lines of registering and mail-in ballots. We also have some FAQs along the lines of questions that we've been able to gather throughout this entire project answered. But as you can see in the middle blue band on the website, you'll see an email address. What I can tell you is we've done our very best to get back to the individuals within 48 to 72 hours. The last thing we want to do is provide you with a shallow answer. We want to make sure that we're able to give you the depth that you deserve, or at least direct you to the space that you can get that information. So I just wanted to make sure that everyone was in that space. Dr. Fair, if I may, I see that there is a question. Would you like me to take that one on?
That'd be great. Thank you.
Okay. Somebody put, will lockers and batting cages remain in building 5? Yes, building 5 on the side where the locker rooms are and the batting cages are, that will not be disrupted. What Ms. Rizzo proposed along the lines of the work with the 18 to 21-year-old program, if you're walking into building 5, that area is to the right, the batting cages and the locker rooms. You continue to walk down that hallway to the left is where we're proposing that classroom. So the lockers and the batting cages will remain the same.
Thank you. So seeing no other questions, I think we have a comment that was submitted through the chat that I think is a nice highlight to end the evening on. A community member wrote, I have lived in Mahwah for 41 years, and I personally would like to thank the committee for your vision and leadership in strengthening our school system and your commitment to creating a truly first-class educational experience for our students. So whoever wrote that, we greatly appreciate you noticing the efforts of our team. And, we hope for really great things for the future of our schools.
So usually Dr. Fair throws this over to me for a close, but I mean, that's such a strong close, so I'm not going to ruin that. I greatly appreciate that comment. I'm glad that our commitment is coming through in this presentation. That was our intention. I started off and I'll end with this. Our commitment is to a couple different entities here in Mahwah. Number one is to our students, first and foremost. And number two is to our community, to make sure that we can share with you that we respect your tax dollars and we want to show you that we're fiscally responsible. That being said, we're at a very important stage or moment in Mahwah right now. With this opportunity, it could solidify us for, years to come. So it's my hope that we can get out to vote on March the 10th. It's my hope that if you are attending this town hall or the in-person town hall or the other 15 presentations that we did, that you share that information. And we don't expect you to be an expert. We are more than happy to answer any question or share the information. That's why the website is there. That's why the videos are on the website. And we're more than happy to talk to people who need any sort of clarification. But that being said, March 10th is an important moment in Mahwah. We hope that everyone gets out to vote. And if you have any questions, please let us know. Thank you so much. We know it was an hour and a half. Hopefully it was an hour and a half for you well spent. And we wish everybody a great night.
Thank you.